Is it okay to be angry? You bet it is. Even Jesus Christ himself was angry one time. Reference the scripture where he overturned the tables of people who were basically stealing from the travelers who needed to exchange their money and turning the place that was supposed to be for prayer into a marketplace with all kinds of noise and distractions. So Jesus' anger expressed itself in a time of frustration. But remember, Jesus never sinned. And so what he did was not a sin. And being angry is not a sin. Now, if we're not careful, that anger, if it's allowed to dwell and if we don't deal with it, and if we let the sun go down on our anger, it can often develop into something that ends up having not positive actions to it. If you think about people who commit second-degree murder, a lot of times they're friends or acquaintances with the person that they've murdered. And it kind of happens in the spur of the moment. They get angry about something and they react to that anger instead of allowing themselves some time to think about it. And that's what gets them in trouble. It's not that they were angry, because we're all angry at different times. The anger, if you're not careful, can destroy the fruit of the Spirit in your life. And I liken it to a weed. And I'll give you an example of one time when we had a little garden in our backyard. We just haven't had time for one in this phase of our lives. But when our kids were little, we had some corn growing one time. But we were going to be gone for about 3 weeks from our house. So we had somebody who came and watered the lawn and who was feeding our cats and doing things, but we didn't hire someone to come and pull the weeds. So I think the corn was probably about this tall, a couple of inches tall when we left, and it was cleared of weeds and it was good to go. The water was going to hit it and water it and everything. Well, when we came back, the weeds were about 3 feet tall, and we thought, okay, no garden this year. When we spread the weeds apart and looked down into the growth there was the corn. It was still there, about the same height, maybe looking a little bit sickly, but the corn was still there. It hadn't grown any in that 3 weeks. It was getting water, it was getting nourishment from the ground, but it wasn't getting sunlight because the weeds had overtaken it. So we pulled the weeds out and let nature do its work. And that year we still had the crop of corn that grew a few months after that we were able to harvest. It's the same thing in our lives. The fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Those fruits of the Spirit are there in our lives, ready to grow if we're following Jesus Christ. But if we have weeds that we've allowed to come in that are overtaking those gifts, they're never going to grow. They're never going to blossom. We're never going to see a harvest from that. So it's okay to be angry, but let go of that anger so it doesn't turn into weeds that end up holding you back from the best that God has for you.